Hey you guys, we are making our standing rib roast today. This is the demo that I'm going to do for you. This is the traditional meal that I make for my Christmas Eve dinner. Whatever holiday you might be preparing for, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday that you would like a standing rib roast, I'm giving you the opportunity to get this incredible quality meat from Herd and Grace. So the way you order that is at carolinehg.com. So I'm doing this today because your last day to order to get this for Christmas Eve delivery is to order it by Wednesday, December 17th. So if you go to my microsite, it's carolinehg.com. You can order your roast. It's going to come to you on ice. They have rush shipping. If you order something over $150 on my account, they include the shipping for free, which, listen, this is a very expensive piece of meat, and I want to make sure that it gets to you in top form, and I just love how they package things. The quality of this meat is really special. I'm so enjoying seeing all of you come in. I know I went a little dark. I was on a little vacation, and you know, some things were distracting me, but anyway, I am back and it is Christmas. It's really close to Christmas. So the standing rib roast, the reason I order it from Herd and Grace when it's a special holiday or a special occasion, I mean, I always love to have good quality meat, but I especially want to make sure that I'm going to hit it on those big holidays. I said 14. My sister texted me and she said, it's 16. And I said, really? I thought it was 14. She said, no, you're missing a couple people. So 16 people for Christmas. So the way that you decide how big of a roast you're going to get, I like the bone in. I think it tastes better. Listen, a roast is not that hard to make. I'm going to show you how easy it is. But I do prefer the bone in. There are a couple different varieties that you can get at carolinehg.com. This is the Wagyu. It is grass-fed and barley finished. This has some serious marbling in it. It is a very rich, wonderful, high-quality standing rib roast. They also have a fabulous Cape Grim, which is 100% grass-fed and grass-finished. But it has the highest marbling content of an all grass-fed roast. That's the one I had last year for my Christmas Eve. I had a 7-rib roast, so a really large one. And what I decided to do this year, I'm cooking you a 2-rib in the Wagyu. And for Christmas, I have a 4-rib in the Cape Grim. I also have a 4-rib in the Wagyu. I want to taste both of them. You can't go wrong with either. So if you go to my site, the Wagyu is a little bit more expensive. They're both very expensive pieces of meat. For those of you who ordered last year or the year before, please chime in. I've had so many of you say to me, oh my gosh, it's so worth it. So let's get started on this. The first thing that you want to know is how much do you order? How much do you order for your family? Think of each rib generously feeding 2 people, more like 3 people, and you can even get 4. If you look at how big this roast is, this is 2 bones. So 1 bone, 2 bones, you're going to feed at least 4 people. I think you could probably get 4 to 6 out of this. But you know, it just depends on how hefty a meat eater. You know, there's people who like their slab of prime rib. I had way more meat than I needed last year. So if that helps a little bit on the price, I certainly want to advise on that. So what I did was I cut off what I needed for today and I put the rest in the freezer. So I just cut off 2 ribs. So we're having a little Christmas feast tonight, and then we'll have another one when it's actually Christmas. And it is Hanukkah. I believe Hanukkah starts tomorrow. Particularly sending my love out because there was a horrific terrorist attack in Australia with just some beautiful people out celebrating Hanukkah with their kids. And very saddening. So I am sending you an extra Hanukkah love tonight as well. Hard turn back to the meat. Let's make this roast. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to get my herbs ready. So I salted this before I left it in the fridge, but we are going to give it a nice coat of salt and pepper. I always use a good quality sea salt. This is my Fleur de Sel, which is a really nice one. And okay, so when we talk about seasoning, this is a large piece of meat. You really want to make sure that your meat is seasoned well. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm going to give it some nice coarsely ground black pepper. You guys are a little far away for me to see comments, but hi, my friends. Okay. Good coating. Your seasoning, your basic seasonings are the most important. You could get away with doing nothing but salt and pepper on this, but you really have to have a good tasting salt. Table salt is not the same as a good sea salt. And I happen to love this one. And you really want to make sure it's on every bit. I like a little coarser grind on my pepper too. If you are using pre-ground pepper, it just has kind of a stale taste. Okay, now what we're going to do is in a little dish, I'm going to put the herbs and the Dijon mustard. And what this does is it just makes a little crust on here. So I have 4 sprigs of thyme, 3 sprigs of rosemary, about a 1/4 cup of Dijon, 4 cloves of garlic. So let me put some mustard in here. And of course you don't really have to measure. When I write out a recipe for you, I always try to give you a good measurement. Use a good quality Dijon mustard. And then I'm going to add some minced garlic here. So I have my garlic all peeled, and that gives it a really nice flavor. And of course, these things are optional. If there's something you like better or something that you don't like, you can eliminate it. But usually when you try it my way, you like it. Hi Susan, good to see you too. This live is going to be in 2 parts today because this part I'm going to do the prepping, and the next part I'm going to take it out of the oven and carve it. Show you how to make the bordelaise sauce that goes with it, in addition to a horseradish cream. So what I like to do when I'm preparing for the holiday is I'm going to show you a little something different in the meal, because I can't be on here for 4 hours in one day. And the actual day of the holiday, I'm so busy with guests and prepping. So I'm going to make the rib roast today with the bordelaise sauce and with the horseradish cream. And then later this week, I'm going to make you the Yorkshire pudding, which are those beautiful popovers, and the salad. And on another day, I will make for you the scalloped potatoes. So you're going to see eventually all the pieces and how they're made, and then you can use that as inspiration, hopefully, if you're inspired. I have a few herbs here. I'm going to use thyme and rosemary. I just came back from a little trip to Cabo. I was with my girlfriends, and on the way home, I was watching, I think I watched 8 episodes of Ina Garten, and she was just my little companion the whole way home. And you know, the thing about great chefs, the food is actually quite simple, and the ingredients are spectacular, and then it's just technique and making sure that you cook it correctly. So obviously, if you're going to spend the kind of money that you're going to invest on a beautiful quality standing rib roast like this, you want to make sure that you know how to do it correctly and that you really score on that night, because obviously you'd hate to spend this kind of money on a standing rib roast and not have it come out the way you want it. And I know some of you like your meat a little more cooked. I'm going to go for a perfect medium rare. With really quality meat, I can handle it a little more rare than I normally do. And some of you will say, no, that's just too rare for me. I am not one of those people who says, well, you can't overcook a piece. If you like it more cooked, have it more cooked. What I also like about this is that it's very, you have the end cut, which is going to have all those nice crusty herbs on it. Bruce is always asking for an end cut. And then the middle is going to be a little more rare anyway. So I do like that you have that flexibility. But if everyone in your family likes it more cooked, it is, I'm not one of those chefs who's going to say, that's a sin, you can't do that. If you're paying for that meat, you may cook it however you'd like. Can't wait for scalloped potatoes for some reason. It curls on me. Oh, really? Interesting. Sue said, I don't cook, but I like watching you cook. Oh, thank you, Sue. A lot of people tell me that it helps with anxiety. I think anything that's task-oriented or anything that gets you out of your own head does help with anxiety. So getting out of the house and going for a walk, just changing your environment, or watching someone do all of these steps on your phone can also be a great way. Okay, so I did a nice fine chop on these herbs. Okay, and I'm going to add that to the mustard and garlic here with just a little bit of olive oil, a couple tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, and so this makes a really nice crust on, the roast. And it's super packed with flavor. And then of course I have a beautiful sauce that goes with it. Who taught me to cook? My mother was a fabulous cook. My mother always made standing rib roast at Christmas. That was our special holiday meal. She made it with mashed potatoes, some kind of a great vegetable, and wonderful pan drippings. I make it, like I said, with scalloped potatoes and Yorkshire pudding. Yorkshire pudding, for those of you who are not familiar with Yorkshire pudding and popovers, they're basically the same thing, but with Yorkshire pudding you use the beef drippings from the pan, or you can use, duck fat or beef fat, something like that. And that is what makes the difference, and that's how you serve it with your meat dish. So it is very traditional with prime rib to have Yorkshire pudding. A popover is generally something that can be savory or sweet, and that's how that is made with butter instead of with. Okay, I'm going to use my hands here. They are clean, and this is just giving me a really nice. And the nice thing about a standing rib roast, it is on the bone, and the bone under here, so again, this is two bones. The bone is acting like the rack for this. So I don't need to put this on a rack because it has one that's already built in. Okay, that's it, perfect. Oh, it smells really good. Delish. Okay, this is going to go into a, let me just check my recipe, 425 oven. It's preheated. My rack is in the lower third. 425 for 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna turn it down to 275. And then I'm going to put this meat thermometer in there. If you don't have a good meat thermometer, pick one up at Herd and Grace. And when this gets to between 120 and 125, I'm gonna pull it, and then it has to sit out and rest for another 30 minutes. So hold on, because here's your prepared standing rib roast. Crystal, it really depends on the size and your oven and how long it's going to take. Okay, 30 minutes. So at 4:51, my phone is in there, so I can't set my timer. 4:51, I'm going to turn that down to 275. And now I can see a few of your questions. How are Violet, Daisy, and Camellia doing? They are just great. They're great. All just going through their stuff, and you know, busy holiday season, busy end of year. Do you make leg of lamb? I don't make much lamb anymore. I used to, and for some reason, I just wasn't aligned with it anymore. I don't know how or why those things happen, but it's such a wonderful flavor. I eat it on very special occasions only. They need to redesign ovens taller. Well, they could. The next thing that I'm going to do here is I am going to prepare for the Bordelaise sauce. So again, I'm going to do the prep here. In part 2, I'm going to finish. So here's what I have for the Bordelaise. And I'm telling you this because you need to order at carolanehg.com. Along with your roast, get this, sorry, it's going to be backwards here, demi-glace. So demi-glace is cooked down bones. And this is, in any great kitchen, someone is responsible for making the demi-glace, but they add this to all the sauces, and this is what gives you that rich, beautiful finish. So this comes to you frozen like this. It is 2 pounds. So what I do is when I thaw it, I put it into these ice cube trays so that I have access to not defrost the whole thing or have a weird bag. So I let it defrost, I put it in these large ice cube trays, and then those I refreeze. So I'm gonna need about 3 cups of this for my sauce. So when you order your roast, make sure you get a veal demi-glace. And again, if you don't have a good oven thermometer, throw one of those in there. So the Bordelaise sauce, what we do is we start with some caramelized vegetables. So you're gonna need 2 carrots, you're gonna need 1 leek, even though this leek is huge, it's more than I need. You're gonna need about 4 shallots and a couple cloves of garlic. I have some bay leaves here, and I have some butter. And I also have some red wine. So I'm just gonna get these prepped, and again, between this and the next live part 2, together you're gonna see how we make the meat and the Bordelaise. I'm just going to chop these shallots. It doesn't have to be a super fine chop on this because this gets strained before you eat it, so we don't have to worry about too fine of a dice on everything. The biggest pain in the butt is peeling shallots. These came off pretty easily. I cut off both ends and then I do a slit and just peel off that outside layer. Okay, and then I have some carrots here. I washed them, I didn't bother peeling them. Again, this can be a little more rustic because everything is going to be strained. Bruce is upstairs watching the end of the 49er game. Is anyone watching? What's the score? Does it look like it's gonna be okay? Anne said, I love your cookbook served. Enjoy your beautiful family. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Anna, I appreciate it. I have quite a few of them going out in the mail this week. So if you would still like to get a copy of Served, it also has a matching apron. You can go to my website, which is carolinesummers.com. And I'll get one out to you before the holidays. It does not have my holiday recipes in it. I did kind of my everyday family recipes, and at some point I will get around to that big project of doing the next book, which will be a holiday book. I do like the idea of like all the ways to entertain during the year, but for some reason it just feels like really a monster project, which it is, because when I actually cook my food for a holiday, you can't also shoot a cookbook. Like, you have to shoot a cookbook separately, which is why sometimes it's just enough to get through the holidays, right? What brand of cutting board? I got this so long ago. I spent a lot of money on my cutting board. It's lasted me for years, and you know, it's just a nice large one. But any of your good high-end cooking stores. Just saw the Wellis Air. Is that? Oh, thank you. Yes, Wellis Air. Good. Yes, we are watching your cooking shows. Every recipe you put out is delicious. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing comfort food and potatoes to come. Yeah, the scallop potatoes are really, that's really great. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get these vegetables cooking down. And that's going to take about 30 minutes just to get the onions and the carrots and the leeks. So that's going to give us really the base of our flavor. If you're not familiar with leeks, this is just a different flavor of onion, and I love the flavor of leeks, but they are a little tricky to clean. So take off both ends, peel it down, slice it down the middle like that, and then you want to make sure that you clean really well between these layers here, because these layers is where you can get a lot of sand. So that's where you want to make sure that you get that cleaned well. So I'm actually going to chop it and then rinse it, and that is going to be the base of this bordelaise. Such a beautiful sauce. And you know what else is great about it? You can make it in advance, so you don't have any of that last minute trying to get your pan drippings. I mean, if you want to add your pan drippings to your finished bordelaise, have at it. But that is where this demi-glace has been so reduced and reduced and reduced, and it's just fabulous because all the flavor is already in it. And I don't know about you, but the hardest part of the meal is pulling that last thing together, because you want everything to be hot and you want everything to taste good. I'm not one of those people who's good at like prepping something and putting it in a casserole pan and keeping it warm in the oven. I just like everything to get made right at the very end and serve, which is, it's a bit of a tall order, but I just think it tastes so much better than making something hours in advance. Of course, some things will hold and they are not an issue. Scallop potatoes are one of those. That's something that you make in advance and you cook it at the end and it gets all bubbly and amazing. Amazing, amazing. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna get started on cooking this bordelaise sauce. The meat is in the oven. In about 20 minutes, I'm gonna turn down that heat. As soon as it's up to temperature, I'm gonna come back. We are going to show you exactly when you pull it out of the oven, how you rest it, how you carve it, and then we're going to serve it with a bordelaise, and I'm gonna make a horseradish cream for you. So thanks for joining me. And when you go to, after I finish this video, comment roast, and I'll send you more detailed instructions on how to make it. But go to carolinehg.com and order your roast so that you make sure you get it by the holiday. See you in a couple hours.